Do we need a studio? That's the $64 million question. There's been a lot of ideas and concepts and dreams and people coming in all at different tiers of development, different characters, different stories, but nothing has ever happened. So it's been a field of dreams that has not come about. The fundamental argument about a studio in this region is, why do people come to this region to film? And the thing is, they come here to shoot outside. We've got to admit that. My name is Philip Smith and I am the Chief Executive Officer of Great Southern Film and Television. We make drama, we make One Lane Bridge, we make reality, we make The Apprentice. We're one of the largest producers of content in New Zealand. With a studio, it is either full or empty. And if it's empty, you're losing money, and a lot of studios around the world lose money. So in terms of risk, we work in the film industry, it's considered risk. Studio, high risk. Like even to us in the film industry, a studio is a high risk venture. Building Paris and Venice and New York is their call, and they might have a reason for that, but I think even a practical person and just a member of the public looking at this could say, couldn't you shoot Central Park in America? Surely they've got versions of that in America. You know, Venice, surely in Europe and Romania, we know that all these sets exist. I believe people are coming here because they want to shoot this incredible landscape that they've seen on Power of the Dog, that they've seen on Top of the Lake, so they want to shoot outside. Queenstown just needs weather cover, we need a sound stage where we can go when it rains. It needs a production village where you can do art, you can do makeup, you can do laundry, production, editing, finance. You put them into one building, that's where we can put people to get started. So that's a fundamental starting point. Jane Campion could have shot Power of the Dog here, which was an Academy Award finalist. Shows like Under the Vines and One Lane Bridge, which screen all over the world, could have done everything just with that. So yes, a studio of some scale here soon is needed, not a dream of something in the future that is massive that might happen.
People tell me this is just like Hollywood, that they have these bungalow offices, and it's very familiar. So at this end we've got, it's around 500 square metres of offices. The stadium's just down at the end of the street there. Emerson's at the other end of the street here. The bookends house what is potential film studio either side here. In here, Hilton Haulage are currently using our modern warehouse. On the downside of this location, we're adjacent to State Highway 88, which takes logging trucks in and out to Port Chalmers, and just on the other side is the main trunk railway line. So that's great in terms of connectivity, but it's also quite noisy. So whatever comes in, we would have to soundproof the warehouse to get it down to an operating level.
The producers and the directors that we've hosted here recently love the city because it's got such diversity in a compact space, and we've got stuff that you just don't see much of anymore. Streets with intact heritage architecture, plenty of grungy bits. At the moment, the inquiries that are actively considering the city are sort of future dystopian. There's a scary movie that's looking for sort of dark gothic places, and we've got dark gothic in spades. The sites I've been talking about don't need much. They need a good clean. A thorough clean, and away you go. And we've doubled as New York recently in that very popular Netflix show, The Royal Treatment.
This big area here behind us with the royal treatment, this was just smothered in trucks. This was the unit base and all the gear, and catering was set up here. They had another marquee at the back of the red brick building for dressing extras.
People say studio and they think the soundproof box with the lighting rig, trucks driving in and out. I'm thinking about facilities as well. What we don't have and what we desperately need is confirmed offices, yards and workshops. And that's the first step. So that a production coming in to make use of those epic locations needs a base.
What the district needs at the moment is it needs the fundamental facilities to actually make film and television. Two of the biggest productions in this district this year, of which we're making one, we cannot find one building to put our staff into, to put our teams in. We've ended up scattered around the district.
That's our first step, is to just build on that growing level of activity of projects coming in to use our locations to give them a permanent base. And then the studio on top would be the icing on the cake.
Virtual production's an emerging filmmaking technique that uses camera tracking technology, LED screen technology, and a real-time 3D engine to basically replace what would have been a traditional green screen workflow in studio. The technology was made famous by The Mandalorian and has since been deployed in a whole bunch of major features. My name's Simon Waterhouse. I am the managing director of a small film production company in Christchurch called Resonate. We've recently taken on a project with a couple of other Canterbury businesses to develop a virtual production prototype with the support of the University of Canterbury and the Screen Production Grant from Screen Canterbury, New Zealand. You know, there's all these things that you'd never dream that you would be able to do on a real location, but you can do in virtual production. In one of our films, we shot a sunset for 2 days. That would have been 5 minutes of light on a real location. We actually managed to stretch out to 2 days long. You actually have the ability to move trees and move buildings. So having ultimate control over the location was quite a revelation. People have often talked about virtual production as being a visual effects workflow and being a replacement for green screen, but actually we came to the realization quite quickly that it could be a replacement for location production. When you see it in action in the studio, you kind of start to realize what are the ramifications that are going to take place in the next 2 to 5 years. Virtual productions, in my opinion, is going to be pretty disruptive to the way that we make films. What's going to happen when there's location libraries of virtual production locations and you can walk into a virtual production studio, pick a location out of a library, boot it up, turn the camera on and start shooting. You know, virtual production is kind of like opening Pandora's box, isn't it? It's an opportunity, but it's also a threat.
Virtual production is just so riddled with potential, it's actually scary. Queenstown is a good spot for virtual production because it can become a creative hub. We want to see a Queenstown media village here. We want to see the digital centre built, which is the other development using the Unreal software. And we want to see other aspects of the creative industry come to Queenstown.
We actually want to build our own capability in all parts of the pipeline, in the education and training, as well as the actual crew, skills, workforce. And the facilities is the other part of that.
We need stuff today and now. We need a practical solution here. And what's happened with Silverlight, the town has been saying, hey, you know, we need to build like a microlight. And they've come along and said, well, we'll build 10 A380s. And everyone's gone, no, we just wanted that.